So you just got a new offset smoker, and you're likely wondering, what is the first thing I should cook? Well, for me, it's always a pork butt, and it's for 3 reasons. It's cheap, it's hard to mess up, and it's a long enough cook time where you can get a good idea how to manage a fire on your new pit. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I break in a new pit by cooking a pork butt. Here is our pork butt. Prairie Fresh pork butt, get these at Walmart. Great pork quality for commodity pork. This is straight from the cryovac. There's really nothing to do to a pork butt. There's nothing scraggly hanging off this one, so we're gonna season it up. For seasoning, we're just going on with a 50-50 blend of Diamond Crystal Kosher salt and 16 mesh black pepper. Going on with a heavy coat. Got it seasoned up, let's fire up the pit. To start our fire, I've got some charcoal in the pit. It is match light. I've never had any issues with it. I've used it for years. Doesn't smell on the food and makes the fire starting process a lot easier. Then we're gonna go in with a log on the side, another log on the side, and then one over the top. This is only the second fire I've run through this pit. The first one was to season it so it was very hot. I'm gonna go with a small amount of wood now because I don't wanna get too hot for the cooking process. Would much rather be too low and build a fire around it, but I've never tried running this pit on a low and slow setting, so we're gonna figure it out as we go. So now we're gonna fire this off, let that match light do its work. The Smoke King has a pretty innovative heat deflector design. It's got one down below, which you can see there a little bit. And then it's got this deflector up here, which you can raise this up, set it into place, and it will deflect the heat. So we're gonna keep it down for this cook because we're only cooking one item. But if you got the whole cooking grate full, that's definitely a helpful addition to the pit. That way you don't roast up and burn up everything that you've got at the front. Our match light is no longer smelling like match light. We've got a nice low and slow fire going. So let's put our pork butt on. We're gonna go fat cap up and bone. There's the bone right there on the pork butt facing the firebox. Now we're gonna shut it down, let it cook. And for the first part of the cook, we want to rock about 225. So M&M has this really cool airflow design on the firebox where it allows you to just rotate and select how much you want. So we're going to try and dial it in by about halfway. We don't want to choke off our fire too much. And then they've got a nice notch system for their damper design. So all the way to the left over here is wide open. All the way to the right is closed. So they go in about 20-degree increments. So we're gonna go about 80% closed or 20% open and see how that works temperature-wise for us. So we're a little over 3 hours into our cook, and this thing has been running like a top. It's been incredibly efficient. The only changes I've made is I completely opened the firebox airflow, so there was no need to choke it off. I was having a little bit of trouble getting up to temp at first with it halfway closed. Open it up all the way and set the damper on the stack to halfway, and we got right up to 225, no problems. And once we got there, I went to the original damper position, which is about 20% open or 80% closed. And we've been running between 220, 240 on the air temperature probe that I have inside the pit. But if you look at the tell-true over here, it's really been staying pretty steady. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna bump the temps up to 250. We're directly in the sun now. We've seen temps go up to about 240, 250 because of that. So I'm really not gonna change the cooking process. And the only thing that I've done from a fire perspective is just add one split. So we started off with those 3 splits, and I've been adding one split and let it catch, let it burn for a little bit, flip it over to the fresh side of the wood that hadn't been burning, because that extends the split and you get a little more heat out of it that way. And then once it kind of breaks down in the middle, I'll add a new split. So it's been a very easy process. I'm gonna continue that way because the sun is adding some heat and we expect the pit to increase in temp. I haven't taken a look at this pork butt yet. Let's see how it looks. It's looking fantastic. No real crispy edges, developing a great bark. We're not using a blocking log. We don't have a water pan in here. We're testing this pit as is to see what kind of barbecue it can produce. So now we're gonna aim for 250 degrees for the next probably couple, 2-3 hours. Just let it keep cooking. Just under 7 hours into the cook, and it couldn't be going much easier. This pit has been humming along right around 250 degrees using the fire technique I was showing you. The pork butt's right around 160 degrees, so we're about to enter the stall where it starts expelling more moisture. You have a hard time gaining temps, so we're gonna bump the tip up to 275 degrees. To do that, I'm gonna keep the damper the same. I'm gonna keep the airflow into the door the same. The only thing I'm gonna be doing is, instead of letting the logs split down the middle before adding a new one, I'm gonna move a cot log over to the side earlier on and then just add another log. That should ideally get us to 275 degrees. If it's not, I'll probably move the damper to the middle position. That way it's about halfway open. But for now, we're gonna try and push through that stall. We'll see when it's time to wrap. It is time to wrap our pork butt. Bark is incredible. The fat is nice and pillowy. Couldn't be happier with how it's turned out to this point. Let's get it wrapped up. I'm going with a full wrap on this. So we've got our RFX probe there we'll want to take into account. But we're going to give this a full foil wrap. Wrap it up, let that probe pop through. And now we're going to get it right back on the pit. And we're going to let it continue to cruise at 275. That fire method of moving a log that hadn't broken yet to the side and adding a new one has let us rock at 275 for the whole cook. So now we're going to shut it down, let it cook until it's nice and tender. A little over 10 hours after we put it on, and our pork butt is done. And I didn't mention it earlier, but when I wrapped this, it was 175 degrees. Temp it around 203 degrees, felt around with my Thermopin, and it is incredibly tender. So I'm gonna let this come down to about 150 degrees, then put it in the oven overnight. Certainly not necessary. You don't have to do that with pork butts. Recommend it for briskets, but not necessary for pork butts. But it's getting a little late, and by the time this comes down to temp, I'm gonna need to be getting in bed, not eating a pulled pork sandwich. It's the following day. Our pork butt is ready to eat, so let's see how we did. Get everything unwrapped. That is looking really good. I like to shred pork butt in one of these pans. Just makes it easy to keep everything together. So first, let's get this bone out. Nice, clean bone pool. Let's get it all mixed up. Really good shreddable texture. Nice smoke ring on it. Very juicy. Haven't even incorporated any of the juices in yet, but looking fantastic. So we'll just shred away. This is really personal preference at this point. Do you like it very coarse? Do you like it extremely shredded? Just shred it how you want. This right here is about the texture I like, not finely shredded, still in decent sized clumps. We want to incorporate our juices in. So get all of them that are in the foil poured over the top, and then we'll just lightly work those in. Let's see how it tastes. We did nothing special to this pork butt, just salt and pepper, no spritzing, no water pan, no blocking log, no additional sauce. We just poured the juices from the foil back in. So let's see how we did. Get a bite here with a little bark in it, some shreddy pork butt. That was a perfect bite of pulled pork. No complaints, salted perfectly. I like to go with 50-50 kosher salt and coarse black pepper. I find that I don't have to add a lot of seasoning to the pork butt afterwards. Of course, I usually mix in some vinegar sauce or other things, but as this is, if you don't want any sauce on it, for me, it's perfectly salted. It's delicious, it's tender, it's juicy. Really no notes that I could give this pork butt. It's really good. So now the world is your oyster. You can turn this into whatever you want. A sandwich, tacos, enchiladas, chili. For me, I'm gonna make a quick sandwich. Start off with a toasted bun, poorly toasted bun. Not happy with the brownage of it, but that's not a big deal. Then we'll go on with a nice pile of our pulled pork. And then I love a vinegar sauce with a pulled pork sandwich, so I'm being a little lazy today. I'm going with Franklin Barbecue's vinegar sauce. I've made a lot of vinegar sauces on this channel, so check those out if you like and want to make your own, but this is a good one if you don't want to go through the effort, although it is minimal effort to make a vinegar sauce, but Franklin's a great alternative if you don't want to make your own. Top that off and see how it tastes. All right, let's dig into our sandwich. It's just hard to beat a pulled pork sandwich. It's a barbecue classic. You can make a ton of them from a single pork butt. The pork is the star of the show in this one. No extra toppings. I usually love slaw on my sandwiches, but didn't do it this time, with a little bit of vinegar sauce and of course a toasted bun. But man, that is excellent. I'd say the first cook on our M&M Texas Smoke King was an overwhelmingly successful cook. The reason we went with a pork butt is the 3 reasons I mentioned earlier. Cheap, hard to mess up, and it gives you enough cook time to figure out how to work your fire. It was really easy to work the fire on the Smoke King. The intake on the firebox looks cool, but it's worthless if it doesn't work well. It worked incredibly well, and that's a very big firebox. It's 28 inches long. And I was not using small splits. I was using full-size splits, and it had no issue keeping the split lit. There wasn't a ton of smoldering. Really, really easy to run from a wood management perspective. It also didn't use a ton of wood, and we still got a lot of really good smoke on our pork butt. The damper system was easy to use. I was going at about the 80% closed or 20% open damper the entire time. But if you want to adjust temps, it's super easy to know exactly where your damper was. You don't have to play the guessing game. So all in all, first cook on the M&M Texas Smoke King was great. Now I'm going to put it through the paces. We're going to start with pork butt, and we're going to move onto more things like ribs, brisket, and whatever else we want to cook on the offset. But I'm pretty excited to put it through the paces because I had a lot of fun cooking on it yesterday. So that's going to do it for this video. If you've got anything you want to see me cook on the Texas Smoke King, please leave it in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be trying to put out a good amount of videos, not just on the Smoke King, but I'm going to keep doing direct heat barbecue. So make sure you subscribe to catch all of that, and I'll see you on the next video.